Okay, folks, thank you for joining us. My name is Jonas Chong. I'm the head of the psychology department here at Ayurvedic Medical Institute. And tonight we're going to be talking about a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, which is energy psychology. Now, this is we could say a new type of therapy that is used in many places around the world that uses the body's the energy aspects of the body to promote healing in the mental, emotional, and behavioral aspects of human beings. So it's really neat stuff. I'm going to really enjoy sharing this with you, and any questions you might have, just go ahead and shoot. I would love to answer these. So the subtitle is New Frontier in Mental and Emotional Health, because even though this comes from some more ancient or older types of healing, the use that has been given to this, especially in the United States, Canada, and Europe, is very new. It's very different. So it's really a very interesting and amazing field to work in. So let's jump right in. As I said, my name is Jonas Chong. I'm the head of the psychology and spirituality department here at Sanoviv. What we do here in this department, we take care of the emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of our guests' well-being here at Sanoviv. So we are in charge of helping them go through any of these aspects that can be interrupting their healing, that can be affecting their healing. So while they're here, they can learn how to cope more effectively with any of these situations that kind of take a toll on their emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. So once they have that in balance, it's much easier for them to heal and be in a better state in both their lifestyle, their emotions, their thoughts, and of course their body, their physical body. We do a lot of this through individual sessions, group sessions, meditation, education, and other types of classes, just to really hit home the most important aspects of emotional and mental well-being. And that's basically what we do here at Sanoviv and how we support our guests in being well from this perspective. I love this next quote, and I want to share this with you. Albert Szent-Györgyi, he was a biologist who won the Nobel Prize for discovering vitamin C. And later on in his life, he dedicated a big part of his work into understanding the energetic aspects of human beings and how closely this was tied into our health and healing. And of course, not only our health and healing, but also how we could develop a disease or health issue. So he stated that in every culture and in every medical tradition before our own, healing was achieved by the movement of energy. And that to me is very, very amazing. It's just really interesting to know that fact and to know that all these different cultures, that they really were trying to do in their healing arts and their medical traditions was move the energy in the body, get it back into a balanced state, so then the body could actually heal itself. Now, something really interesting happened in the 16th century in Western culture. We started seeing the body more like a machine, or human beings more like machines, like very intricate, complex machines, but ultimately, something that could be broken down into different parts and studied in that way. And what was really interesting about that was that at that time, in the 16th century, a lot of the diseases that the Western culture was facing were acute diseases that would flare up almost immediately or in a very short time. So something as aggressive as seeing the body as a machine, seeing the body as something that could be cut open and parts taken out and then later on, of course, parts put back in. was actually very, very useful because it really dealt with the health issues at hand at that moment. But now if we fast forward to the 20th and now the 21st century, we find that in Western culture, a lot of the diseases we face are not acute diseases, but rather more chronic degenerative diseases. And this approach, the same approach of just seeing the body, just seeing the physical, the mechanical aspects of human beings, is not that effective. It does not hold many of the answers that we're looking for. And a lot of those answers come from integrating all these different aspects of the human experience, not just the physical, but also the emotional, the mental, and of course, the energetic, which we'll be talking about today. So I love this quote, and it just really rings true for me. Let's get into a little bit of these talking points we'll be covering in tonight's webinar. First of all, we'll cover just a very basic topic of the importance of psychology in healing, all that has to do with the emotions, the mind, and of course the spirit. We're going to define energy psychology, this new type of therapy that can be applied to support a wide range of health issues. Of course, not only mental or emotional health issues, but also a response to physical health issues. We're going to describe the background of these therapies, where they come from, and just what the basis is on these therapies. We're going to explain how we think they work, because we have yet to determine exactly, because of a lack of proper tools to do so, how they work. But we know they work because there are thousands upon thousands of clinical data in patients that have referred amazing benefits from these tools. We're also going to talk about what are some of the main uses for these therapies. So there are very specific things that are that can be treated very effectively with these tools, these energy psychology tools, and others that are not ideal for this. But we're going to focus on those that are that are treated very effectively with these tools. And I'm going to share with you some very simple self-help energy psychology tools. A few things that you can do at home when you are dealing with some issues, and I'll explain exactly what these exercises are for and how you can use them for your benefit. That's what we're going to be covering today. Of course, some closing comments on the whole webinar, and just closing, all these aspects that we mentioned. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of psychology in healing. A lot of times I have to explain here at Sanaviv why a person is sitting in front of me when they're dealing with diabetes or cancer or any other physical health issue. And I really love explaining to them why they're sitting in front of a psychologist when their problem just seems to be physical, just in their body, not in their mind, not in their emotions. So let's talk a little bit about what the body does when it heals, when it's healing effectively. What it does, it activates the relaxation response. This is a part of the autonomic nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system that is basically your body's just feel-good state. So when you're feeling good, your body is actually in its most healing mode. It's just ready for healing because all that energy that you have in your body is only used, or is primarily used, for repair work, for digestion, so your body can get energy again, and all of these things just connect with your greater well-being. So whenever your body is relaxed, it's in that natural healing mode. So there's a biochemical and energetic cascade of responses that focus all this energy towards repair work. Since there's nothing out there calling our attention, nothing out there that's just screaming, danger, 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 We can just focus on repairing ourselves and healing and just being in our optimal state. So this is the importance of relaxation. And of course, bringing it back to the importance of psychology in healing, a lot of times we are not relaxed, and we need to find ways on how to do that. So the more relaxed we are, the easier it is for our bodies to heal. So how does the body get stuck in not repairing itself? This is also very important, and it's, of course, the opposite response to relaxation. Too much of the stress response, which is sometimes referred to as chronic stress, especially chronic stress becomes chronic when we're not doing anything to manage it. So when stress goes unanswered, or the type of answers that we have towards stress are more ways of ignoring it. So if we face stress, drinking a beer or smoking a cigarette or just sitting down and watching TV, we're really not dealing with it. We're just ignoring it for a while until some of it dissipates, but most of it can really stay in the body because remember, a lot of these responses, emotional or mental, are biochemical in nature. This is your body's biochemistry. So even though you might feel or think that this is all in your head, or it's just a silly emotion going on, this is actually a chemical response in your body. So it has some consequences to how your body is working. So when there's too much stress, there's tons of research that show us that this blocks healing responses from occurring in the body. So even though your body might have all the, let's just say, raw materials for healing, stress can block that response, can stop the body from going there. Mostly it does that because it's sending a message into the body that it's not safe to release stress, to go into that more relaxed state. This happens because, remember, our stress response is our flight-fight response. This is our survival mode. So when we're feeling very much in that survival mode, our body will focus everything on survival, on getting past that difficult situation. And of course, this is perfect for when we're facing a life or death situation. If we're being chased by a dog, or if we're going to be in a car crash, or our house is on fire, anything like that, that is a perfect response for that. But when we move that same biochemical cascade of stress in our body because we're stuck in traffic, because we're late for a meeting, because we lost our cell phone, that is not managed well automatically. We need to find ways on how to do that. And if we don't, then stress just keeps building up. So when stress blocks healing responses for a long time, that's when parts of the body start breaking down. And we might have certain target organs or systems that are most affected by stress, where this biochemistry just really focuses. And after a while, that part of the body can start breaking down. So then a health issue or health issues arise. And this is something that's just widely researched. There's estimates that about 80% of doctors' visits come from stress-related health issues, which does not mean that these health issues are in persons' minds or it's just because they're stressed. No, it's because of what we're mentioning right here, how stress over time can really start breaking the body down when we don't manage it in a very effective way. So given all these situations, you can probably see the importance of psychology in healing, the importance of knowing how to manage stress, avoid it when possible, but when it cannot be avoided, how to minimize the effect it has on our body. So our department here at Sanofi does a lot of that in helping people just learn how to cope with situations back at home and do it in the most effective way possible. So what we're talking about again is the relaxation and stress response. For a long time, these were believed to be totally autonomous, not under the control of the person, just something that happened because of the situation that was going on. But we now know that we can have a very profound influence over these and basically create the effect that we desire. So a lot of times we are doing that even without knowing it. When we do something that we love or that we really enjoy, it's more likely that we'll be creating a relaxation response, that we'll be doing something that actually benefits us deeply. When we're doing something that really stresses us out or that puts us in a very, very active state, that we're just rushing and rushing and rushing, we're going to be going to more of a stress state because something in our body is telling us that there's a certain danger there. There's something going on that's not right about that. So we're creating that all the time. The very important thing is for us to create that in a very conscious way. So we're actually knowing, what we're doing and what result to expect. So let's then talk about the topic at hand today, which is energy psychology, and what it's about and how it can help you, especially if you feel that chronic stress is a situation in your life. It's something that you might be dealing with, or even if it's just a mild stress, that you don't really have the right tools to manage. This can be very helpful in achieving that. So energy psychology is a family of evidence-supported therapies that balance, restore, and improve human functioning by combining ancient systems of healing based on energy theories with modern cognitive psychology. Let me break it down a little bit. So we call this a family of evidence-supported therapies because there's not one way of practicing energy psychology. There's several dozens of ways of doing it. These are all based on evidence or evidence supported, I should say, because there's a strong amount of evidence supporting these therapies and what they do and their results, even though, as of now, scientifically, we cannot prove these therapies because the realm of action of these therapies is based on the body's energy. Now, science has not reached the point where we can actually measure this energy in a very consistent way, or scientific way, I should say. And we have, though, the evidence that this is, or these can be, very effective tools to balance, restore, and improve human functioning, both in in all mind, body, and spirit. So it combines these ancient systems of healing, and we'll talk a little bit about that, which are, as we stated before, all these ancient types of healing were based on energy and the movement of energy. So it combines that with what we know now of how our cognition works, how our mind works, and how we store these memories and these beliefs of what should be stressful and what should be relaxing for us. So if we can have access to that, and if we can learn how to let go of certain things, we can have a great impact on our health and our healing. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So this is energy psychology. We use these theorized energy systems for a rapid change, and and I need to say this is what we hope for, this is what we're looking for, but of course we cannot guarantee, but we're looking for these rapid changes in the ways we feel, think, or act. So these situations, these stressful situations can be positively impacted by energy psychology. So there is a shift in the way we feel, the way we think, or the way we act, depending on what we want to achieve. So what is the background of some of these therapies? Let's talk a little bit about this. So there are several ancient healing systems that are represented in energy psychology. Two of the main ones are traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. Let's talk just briefly about this so you know where this is coming from and you get a sense of what that traditional part of this therapy is and how it's supported by thousands and thousands of years of practice. So let's talk first about traditional Chinese medicine. It is estimated that traditional Chinese medicine has been around for about 6,000 years or so, give or take a few hundred years. It's been practiced in an almost uninterrupted way since its discovery, since about 6,000 years ago. I think one period of time, as I've read, that it wasn't practiced thoroughly or a lot was during Mao's reign in China, much preferring Western medicine at that time. And this was relegated to poorer people, people who could not pay a medical doctor. They would still be using these ancient systems of healing, which was great because then this was something that after this pause came up again and just was used by many people in China and throughout the world. To this date, there's some research that shows that this is the most widely used form of medicine today. More and more people across the world use this than allopathic medicine that we know and that we see in all our Western hospitals. The part of traditional Chinese medicine that is most focused on in energy psychology is the use of the energy meridians. So these are pathways of energy through which life force flows all across the body. So it just infuses the body with this life force, this vitality. And there are 14 main meridians in the body. Within the meridians, there are these points that are called acupressure points. Some of the research, scientific research, shows that some of these energy meridian points that are known, or acupressure points that are known and have been studied, show that there is a lower electrical resistance in these points than in other parts of the body. So these points can simulate a shift in the body's energy, a shift in the way the body is manifesting that energy. And again, science or scientific research has shown that this has an impact on the levels of neurotransmitters and hormones in the body. So by stimulating a lot of these points, you can have a very profound effect on the expression of neurotransmitters and hormones in your body. So after going through a round of stimulating these acupressure points, a person might feel very relaxed, very calm, very centered, when a few minutes before they might have felt very stressed, very uptight, very angry. So it has that effect, and it can have that effect on multiple issues that people usually deal with. And now let's talk a little bit about Ayurvedic medicine. So this has also been around for thousands of years. This is the traditional medicine of India. And within this medicine, there are these theorized energy centers called chakras. So the chakras are believed to be energy centers in the body that correlate with the different emotional, physical, energetic functions. So each chakra, and there's 7 of them, has a specific function within these different realms or spheres of human functioning. And some research has shown that holding the chakras and visualizing these traits that they have can have a very calming, relaxing effect. There's even certain psychological therapies that are based on this. And again, the clinical research shows that they can be very, very effective at treating a lot of different emotional health issues. Okay, so energy psychology is based on this. Deep down in our core, we are energy. That is a well-known fact now, that we are, for all purposes, energy. And of course, human beings are comprised of this energy, but also, in our body, research estimates that there are about 100 trillion cells at any given moment. Now think about that. 100 trillion cells. Those are a lot of cells. But also think of the following. In each and every one of these cells, there's somewhere around 70 to 100,000 chemical reactions per second. Each cell is just bubbling with life, with energy, with movement, and of course, with information, because each thing that one cell does can have an impact on the cells around them. And all these cells need to be in communication. So our body is in its optimal functioning. Our body is getting exactly what it needs and creating exactly what is needed for optimal well-being. So we can see energy as the body's informational system. And this energy, especially this energy that we're talking about, which is based on, again, Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine. So we can see this as the great organizer within the body that uses energy, or that uses energy to bring all that information into a coherent whole, which is ourselves, which is us. So it's very interesting because through these ancient practices, we can access, improve, and balance these informational systems to help us achieve health and well-being, especially when we feel stuck, when there's something going on in our lives, emotionally, mentally, or in our behaviors, things that we choose to do or not to do, that are not supporting our health and well-being. That we're actively doing things that go against what what is in our best interests. And that might seem like, well, that's really illogical. I wouldn't do that. But remember, there's a part of the brain and a part of our nervous system that's really not based on logic, that it's coming from a totally different place. So when we're stuck in these types of situations, when we've learned that there are certain behaviors, certain emotions, certain thoughts or beliefs that we need to hold on to no matter what, even if these are having very negative consequences in our lives, energy psychology is a great option to help shift that, to help that just be much more in balance for us. And we'll talk in a moment about how it does that. So the goal of energy psychology is actually very, very simple. First, it's to release a negative or aversive emotion around a specific event, trauma, or issue. So if our emotions are negative around something, whether it's some way of just pushing something away, because we're sad, we're angry, we're frustrated, we're anxious, that will not allow us to have many options on how to face and deal with that situation or face and deal with that person. So the more options we have, the more likely it is we'll actually choose what is best for us, especially when we feel like we have options. A lot of times, it's not even up to discussion. We just react to the situation. We react to the person. And before we know it, we're doing something that later on we will regret. We'll say, oh, why did I say that? Why did I do that? That was awful. I wish I had done something different. So the first goal is to release that negative or aversive emotion. When that happens, the person, especially in focusing or dealing with this event, trauma, or issue, will tend to feel neutral. Will tend to feel very neutral. So there won't be that sensation or that emotion of something taking over, and something sometimes so strong that it does take over. It supersedes our conscious thought, and we're doing something all of a sudden like, whoa, why am I doing this? Where is this coming from? And when we come to that balanced state, when we come back to that more neutral state, choosing to do things differently is much, much easier. Choosing not to react to these situations is much easier. So this is the first goal of energy psychology, to release these negative or aversive emotions around these issues. The second one, which is also great because it really helps us find a greater sense of balance, is to integrate a positive emotion or habit around a specific event or issue. So we might be dealing with a situation where we don't feel all that bad, but we don't feel that great either, especially in situations where we might feel a, a lack of motivation around something that we truly desire, something that would be awesome for us, like, doing more exercise, going out there and meeting us, or finding a significant other, uh, writing a book, whatever that might be for you, things that would be great for you, and yet there's something there that just stops you. There's not enough motivation. There's not enough of that feeling of, yes, I need to do this right now. So energy psychology can really help in doing that. Again, integrating a positive emotion like feeling excited, feeling confident, feeling happy or joyful about these things, and that will pretty much make it more likely that you'll do these things, you'll feel these things, you'll think these things because it's more connected with something that just feels great for you. So the better it feels, the less roadblocks that it has, it's easier for you to just really step into that. So these are the basic two goals of energy psychology and its intervention: to take away these negative emotions and to integrate more positive emotions into a situation, depending on whatever that might be. So let's talk a little bit about how we believe energy psychology works. As we hold a stressful issue or thought, and I'm sure you've done this, all of a sudden thought of something that is very stressful, or all of a sudden you see someone, from afar that hurt you or impacted you in a negative way, and all of a sudden you start feeling all these difficult emotions, and it's just so hard on your body to feel these experiences. And you're not even interacting. Nothing is going on. That person might not have seen you, or you're just thinking of this person or this situation. It definitely has an impact in your body because there's a biochemical cascade that leads to that stress response, to that fight or flight mode, because there's a perceived danger. So again, even if we're just thinking of something stressful, this biochemical cascade starts flowing in the body. So while doing that, when this is done, there's a part of the brain that is stimulated. And this part of the brain is called the amygdala. And this part of the brain basically stores all these stress responses in the body in all these situations where your body deems it wise to react in a stressful way, in a way that, again, starts this biochemical cascade. A lot of these will be right on the mark. Like, again, if your house is on fire, if someone is chasing you, if someone is trying to steal your car or something like that, yes, definitely, that stress response is very warranted. But it is not when remembering a situation that happened several years ago, and still the stress can be very debilitating. It can really affect your positive experiences or your ability to actually do the things that you love and do the things that you want. When that is going on and the amygdala is holding on to the stress thoughts and emotions, we need to do something about that. So we know of the neuroplasticity of the brain, the ability of the brain to learn and unlearn things every day. What energy psychology does, let me go back. What energy psychology does is, through these acupressure points or through these energy points, stimulate that rebalancing of neurotransmitters and hormones in the body. So then that sends a the signal into the nervous system that this situation that we're holding in our thoughts, that we're focusing on, no longer needs to be a stress trigger. So that stress trigger is no longer active. And a big part of that, again, is because of the neuroplasticity of the brain, because we can learn and unlearn things every single day. So it is in our best interests, of course, to unlearn these things that hold us in a negative way, that make us less effective, less happy, less able to do the things that we want to do. So the more we can do that, the more we can release these situations, these stress triggers that just stop us in our tracks. Really, the better our quality of life will be. So this is how we believe energy psychology works. Through holding these stressful situations or thoughts, tapping on these points, we have we can affect the nervous system in the brain into shifting into a more neutral state. So that biochemical cascade is not going on anymore. And from there on, our body learns, or our brain learns, that this situation is no longer stressful. And I really want to stress the fact that this is how we believe it works. This is the most plausible explanation, and yet again, we do not have the tools, the scientific tools, to prove that this is so. So these are just theories that energy psychologists have that can play, that we use to explain what we think is happening when we see amazing results in people that apply these tools. Okay. So what are some of the most common uses of energy psychology? Therapeutically, and by that I mean in front of a psychotherapist, a psychologist, or a trained mental health professional, the uses could be for dealing with chronic stress. So really learning how to manage chronic stress in a very effective way. It's also widely used for phobias, and it's very, very effective at dealing with phobias, no matter which type of phobia that is, because there's a big part of this type of therapies that, as I've mentioned before, just really brings us into a neutral state. So if we can face a phobia with a neutral point of view emotionally, that will make all the difference for that person. Anxiety and other related issues, also very well treated with energy psychology. Post-traumatic stress disorder, again, there's really a lot of research out there right now, especially with several wars going on around the world and veterans coming back severely affected by this, and how post-traumatic stress disorder is just one of those things that a lot of veterans come back with. And this is just a very interesting therapy, a very effective therapy for that. Of course, also in another vein, determining one's purpose in life, especially for those people that feel like, they don't have that sense of purpose, or something is blocking them from feeling fully committed to that purpose, to just what they're meant to do in this life. Addiction issues as well, very well treated with some of these therapies, along with other health professionals and other disciplines that will support also, the full gamut of mind, body, and spirit. And in the self-help aspect, for each person to do on their own, there's the following. For stress management, so you can use some of these tools on your own for your own well-being, and especially dealing with those stressful situations of your everyday life. I wouldn't recommend using this on your own for situations that are extremely stressful, or that are, let's just say, defining moments in your life, and things that really impacted your life. So trying to take those things on by yourself, on your own, would not be recommended. There's just too many factors there that are in play and that would be out of your control So it's really not recommended. What is recommended is stress management, just dealing with daily stresses. To improve your coping skills as well. So you have different tools to not only face stress but also avoid stress, not get into situations where drama is created, stress is created, aversive emotions are created. You're just thinking through or moving past these situations in the best way possible, and sometimes totally sidestepping situations that would have had a very negative effect on you. This tool, you can use it, or some of these tools you can also use to reduce insomnia. Now, and I really want to make a point of this, I'm not saying this cures insomnia, but it can, or some of these tools can reduce insomnia, can reduce the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, of the stress response during the night, so then your body can come back to a more peaceful, relaxed state, and then falling asleep is much easier. It can also help with quitting bad habits, especially if you're already committed to stop doing some of the things that make you unhealthy, that make you unhappy. Some of these tools can also help in achieving that. But again, especially in the self-help category, as a part of different things you will be doing, maybe even getting help from professionals on how to do that. This can also help with weight loss on kind of a self-help basis, but also ideally working with other people, other professionals that will support your goals in reaching your healthy weight, reaching a weight that is much more manageable for you. And also developing motivation towards our goals, which is also a big part of what energy psychology does, and something that you can do on your own, especially when there's no big roadblock, situation, stress, or trauma in your life that doesn't allow you to move towards your goals. Then it really works great. You can have great success in achieving that. Okay, so right now we're approaching the end of the webinar, and at the end we'll open up some time for some questions. But right now I want to share with you a couple of techniques that can really help you experience what energy psychology is and how we can use these tools for our benefit. And we're going to be starting or doing something called the Three Thumps. These exercises we're going to do right now are in that kind of more self-help range. So there are other tools, more complex or more complicated tools. We won't even get into that, because those are more for the therapeutic range of use of these tools. So right now we're going to be doing this called the Three Thumps. The goal is to calm down the body's energy, to stimulate your defenses, and for you to be able to hold a greater peace. So this is a great exercise to do in the morning. So in the morning, you do this exercise, you get centered, you find just a really nice place in your body and your body's energy, and move forward throughout the day with that energy, with that state of mind, body, and spirit. And this is an exercise you can do several times during the day. It doesn't matter. That's actually one of the great benefits of energy psychology. You can do it as often and as much as you like, and there's really no side effects. So let's break this exercise down. This is Donna Eden, by the way, this woman that you're seeing here. She is really one of the great developers of energy psychology in her own branch of this type of therapies called energy medicine. If you have any chance to check out her books, please do so. They're amazing, and they really explain a lot of what is done throughout the world in terms of energy psychology. So as you can see, she's holding certain points under the collarbone. So that's the first point we're going to be thumping. This is called the Three Thumps because we're going to be thumping or tapping on three distinct parts of the body. We'll be doing that one first in a moment. The second point is right at the chest. And me a second. And the third point is at the sides right there. So first point right under the collarbone. Second point right at the center of the chest. And third point right at the sides. I'm getting a question here that it says the sound is cut. Now, can everyone hear me? Can anyone just send me a message if they can hear me or not? I would love to make sure that you can hear me and everything is going fine. Okay, perfect. Someone is telling me they can hear me. Perfect. Thank you so much. Let's move forward. That might have been just a glitch on this person's side. Thank you very much. All right, let's practice this. So the way you're going to be thumping, and you're seeing that in the picture, Donna is using the tips of her fingers. This is very important, especially if you have longer fingernails. Be very careful. You don't want to use those. You want to use the tips of your fingers. And we're going to be tapping at these points for about 10 seconds or about 2 deep breaths. And the way you're going to be tapping is, almost just a normal way you would kind of knock on a door, just quietly knocking on a door. So it's not extremely forceful, but definitely strong enough that you feel it, not on the surface on your skin, but a little deeper. So, the sensation is deeper than the surface of your skin. So that might give you an idea of, those sensations or what you're supposed to experience with this exercise. So please go ahead and start tapping with the tips of your fingers right there under your collarbone as you're taking deep breaths. So it's 1 deep breath and 2 deep breaths. Okay, so now we're going to move back to the second point, which is right on the center of the chest. So go ahead and start tapping there. 1 deep breath. 2 deep breaths. And finally, we're going to move to the third point right here at our sides. Remember, tapping with the tips of the fingers. And we tap for 1 deep breath. And a second deep breath. Okay, excellent. Go ahead and relax your arms. Take a couple of deep breaths again. And just take a moment to check in and notice how you feel. Okay. So just keep that in mind, just exactly what you experience right now as we move on to the second exercise we'll be practicing today. So remember, this exercise, the 3 Thumps, is a great exercise to help support calming down your body's energy when it's just way too overactive. It stimulates your body's defenses so your body feels stronger and more kind of in that healing mode. And also, it just brings a greater sense of peace. So we can move forward with a greater sense of calm security. So we're not rushing into things. We're just more calmly kind of going into this. And please remember, we are recording this webinar. So you'll find this webinar in our YouTube page, and you can just go back to that and fast forward up to this point when you want to practice some of these exercises. Let's go on to the second exercise. Okay, so this exercise is called Calming Triple Warmer. Triple Warmer is a meridian from traditional Chinese medicine that a lot of times can become very overactive. You just can be doing too much. And what it does, and basically the effect it has in our body is create a sense of just wanting to defend our body, but sometimes it does that too much. So we end up feeling overwhelmed, like too much is going on. Our body is just way too focused on doing all of these things, and we need to calm that down. We need to bring that down, so it's just much easier for us to actually be effective at doing the things we want to do. or effective at reaching our goals. Because sometimes we're just all over the map. We're everywhere in our energy, we're everywhere in our actions, and we're not really moving forward. We're just kind of running around in circles. So this exercise can really help us to do that. So for this exercise, we're going to be working with this meridian, and this picture will show you where this meridian is at, kind of the direction it travels in. And what we're going to be doing is very, very simple. We're going to be doing an exercise that consists of 3 different parts. And I hope you can visualize this, because I couldn't find an image that actually covered all the steps here, but I want you to really visualize this. The first part of this exercise, and you can follow along right now as I'm explaining the points, or you can follow along as when we actually practice this, is by holding with the tips of your fingers your temples. So as you can see right there in the little red dot that this woman has, those are your temples. That's the start of, or the end of, I should say, the triple warmer meridian. And I want you to just imagine or just hold those points right now with the tips of your fingers, just holding them very lightly. And take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you to apply pressure to your temples. And the type of pressure I want you to apply is basically the type of pressure you would normally use when applying lotion to your skin. So that's about the right amount of pressure. Although, if you have any issues with your neck, your spine, or your shoulders, you might need to have a lighter pressure. So if there's anything going on with your shoulders, your neck, or your spine, make sure that you approach this exercise respecting what your body can and can't do, what your body can and cannot tolerate. So this exercise shouldn't hurt at all. It should feel very relaxing. If it starts hurting as you're doing this, please use less pressure. Okay, so applying pressure to your temples, I want you to follow that blue line. So you go towards your ears, above your ears, behind your ears, and you go down the neck, right, not where you're seeing that blue line, but more, right at the side of your spine. And go ahead and reach your shoulders, and when you reach your shoulders, place your hands right on your shoulders. Now, as you take another deep breath, start massaging your shoulders up and down. So as you massage, the left side and the right side, your elbows go up and down, massaging just up and down your shoulders. And as you breathe out, just gently reach back, pull your hands across your shoulders, and as you reach the top of your shoulders, just go ahead and let your arms come down. Okay, so that is this exercise. We're going to practice that once more in these in the sequence of 3 steps in basically 3 breaths. Okay, so I'll give you a moment to get ready. Okay, so now bring your hands back to the temples. Remember, lightly touching the temples, and take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Now applying pressure, go up and over your ears. So you're breathing in, behind your ears, down your neck, breathing out, and just reach all the way back to your shoulders. At your shoulders, take another deep breath in, start massaging up and down, and as you breathe out, drag your fingers across your shoulders and let your arms drop. Okay, take a moment right now just to check in and notice how that feels. Excellent. So remember, this is a great exercise to do whenever you feel stressed, whenever you feel anxious, whenever you feel overwhelmed, like there's way too much going on and you can't seem to find, what the next step is or how to get out of that kind of stress response that you're dealing with. All right. So some closing comments on today's webinar. Remember, relaxation is a huge part of your healing. the more relaxed you are, the more likely it is that your body will put up, these are its natural healing properties. So if you're using different therapies, supplements, or any type of thing along with your relaxation, it it's much more likely that treatment plan will take hold, and it will just really benefit you in the long run. Remember, we have control over what we do to manage stress and create relaxation. This is not something that is out of our control. It is totally in our control. We just need to become very aware of that and commit to doing those things that either help us release stress or create relaxation, whatever those might be. And remember, energy psychology is a great set of tools to help with healing. It's really just one set of tools. I really enjoy these tools a lot because usually we can see results in a matter of sessions. So people start feeling better a lot faster. And that's been my experience. And I know it's a lot of people's experience. And yet, again, as in anything within medicine, there are no guarantees. And yet these are common experiences of a lot of people, just feeling better in a very fast way. All right. Oh, let me go back. So thank you so much for joining us tonight today in this webinar. I'd love to hear from you any questions that you might have on this or on this topic of energy psychology. So yeah, fire away.